I think we've been fooled. What if I told you that most of the animes that you've watched growing up actually weren't as good as you thought they were? Shocking. And some on this list might actually surprise you. Here's a list of my most overrated animes of all time and why you should honestly just stop watching them. And there's a very special surprise at the end if you stay through. First, we're gonna talk about is X Hunter. This show is so overrated. My goodness, is it bad. It does have a unique power scaling and it's so strategic. It's one of the most thought out power systems in anime. It's so traversal where it's not only built on brute strength, but strategy as well as timing. It kind of makes you think a lot when watching the show because at the end of the day, it's not the biggest or the person who screams loudest that's the strongest. And you can notice that, which kind of annoys me a bit. I kind of want to see a bunch of headbanging. They do have diverse and complex arcs like the Heaven's Arena tournament, as well as the Chimera Ant and Greed Island arcs as well. They're cool. They take me on different adventures. They make me see the characters in different lights. And it's not just about the fighting. There's so much strategy and so much cunning that goes into it. But I think it's cool. It could be better, but it is what it is. The characters are honestly so memorable because in most animes, the characters are adults and they're big and strong. But in this anime, the characters are just kids. But that's what makes it kind of unique and interesting because they're kids and you see Gon's innocence and Kilo's cunningness and Hisoka's creepy attitude and demeanor, but then it also provides other characters where in most shows they would be a side character. But to see the complexness of each character, it's cool because it takes you on a different route than most animes, but it is what it is. Overrated. The series explores so many different themes like morality, sacrifice, cost of power, friends, unexpected teamwork, and honestly just a surprise, which I could get under if it was an anime like that and I was expecting anime. But when I watch anime and it kind of oversees my expectations, I get a little bit pissed off. So Hunter x Hunter, not for me, overrated. Next we're gonna talk about is Dragon Ball Z. And oh brother, this show is just too much. We want to talk about the quote-unquote big three of anime or the original anime predecessors that pushed it, into popularity in the Western culture. Man, RP Akira Toriyama though, he is amazing and nothing against him. But the Dragon Ball Z of itself is just too much. You have a strong saying like Goku and you can see his upbringing from getting banged on his head as a kid to becoming one of the strongest fighters in the world. And there's something about that does not sit well with me. I love the fact that he has a strong sense of pride in himself, but also is not just an arrogant fighter. He wants people to win, but he wants to save the world as well. But we know he's a deadbeat, but come on now, that's the majority of anime protagonist dads. But besides that, Goku and his group of the Saiyan soldiers, y'all, it's too much. There is not enough in-depth complexity. You're gonna see some of the best fighting animations of all time. You're gonna see some of the best transformations of all time. But who wants to see that? Who wants to get blown out of their seat each time they see a transformation? And we're not gonna talk about what Daima did just recently, where they just dropped some of the best animations, my goodness, in the show. But that's overrated, no big deal. They have one of the most unbelievable arcs in all of anime history with the Buu arc, the Frieza saga, as well as the Cell saga, where you're gonna see some of the best transformations, best fights, and some of the best moments, i.e. Gohan defeating Cell with the help of Goku. But that's cool. Goku did at the end of the day not take care of Cell when he needed to, but Gohan finished the job. And then it's Dragon Ball Z's cultural phenomenon. It transpired what anime was in the Western cultures, influencing so many people from athletes to rappers to I heard even the cartel listens to and watches Dragon Ball Z, which is crazy to me. Being able to know that people in gang affiliation is watching anime and drawing inspiration and drawing enjoyment from that, I think is crazy, but kind of cool, but still overrated. Next we're going to talk about is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I think this might be one of the worst of the two, Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Brotherhood is just, I honestly thought it would be better. It's one of the best animes of all time, and it follows two brothers on a redemption story to right their wrongs and how they lost their mom at the beginning from them doing an unspeakable thing, but then they end up saving everybody in the end and fighting one of the biggest arcs in anime history. That's cool, but Alchemy is just too much. If I want to learn about science and transmutation and fights being not just brute strength, but have to be strategic as well as intelligent, I don't know, I'd watch a different anime. But I want to see the boxing, but if you like that kind of stuff, then Fullmetal Alchemist might be for you. But I don't know about that. And then it does have one of the best villain groups of all time, aka the homunculi. Each member in the homunculi represents one of the 7 deadly sins, like pride, lust, gluttony, wrath. Those are cool, and it's a surprise when you find out the fear of Bradley, the head of the nation, as a homunculi, and he's actually one of the most coolest people, but you wouldn't know because at the end of the day, he was the king and then ended up being one of the worst people, one of the worst enemies in the show. I think one of the worst enemies in all of anime history, because who cares about in-depth thought? And unlike most animes, Fullmetal Alchemist has a great and satisfying ending. Who wants something that is satisfying like that? Who doesn't want a cliffhanger where it doesn't make any sense? But Fullmetal Alchemist ties up all the loose ends and gives you peace knowing that the anime came to a good conclusion. Come on now. We want something where it's so convoluted that not even the writers knew what they were trying to say. But if you like things like that, I guess Fullmetal's for you. Then we're going to talk about one of the most current or most overrated animes, Solo Leveling. Can we talk about peak ore farming from Sung Jin-Woo? This guy does nothing but ore farm every single episode and have the most intense battle scenes I've ever seen in my life. Why do I want to get blown out of my seat every single time I'm watching an episode? The show is that overrated that each show I'm literally locked in while eating with popcorn, ready to soak up all the show. Sung Jin-Woo's transformation from an E rank to an S rank god tier protagonist has to be studied, because who told him to get that strong and to have one of the best glow ups in anime history? That's just ridiculous. When I see things like that, I get upset because I wanted him to stay E rank and grind a little bit harder. But he only had to die to become an E rank and truly become one of the best protagonists. And a man of few words. He doesn't have a drawn out monologue each episode. He says barely a few things, but it gets straight to the point. If you like great battles and great animation graphics, this show might be for you, but if not, you should skip it. The RPG type system in the show makes it feel rewarding watching the show, because it almost makes you feel like you're in a video game, right? Quote unquote solo leveling. But at the end of the day, who wants to see a character grind from the bottom, become one of the best, only get some of the coolest gadgets, abilities to do, and to be able to take out some of the best bosses ever in the swift of the battle, but also in heated combat? That's one of the top shows on Crunchyroll, which I think is so overrated, because everybody's watching? Who wants to watch a show that's literally breaking records for being streamed? Who wants to watch a show where the manhwa is so good? Every episode, every time it comes out, has people literally on the edge of their seats wanting to see what happens next. But if you like things like that, go ahead and watch it. But for me, I don't know. Solo Leveling might be one of the top animes right now being watched. And if you haven't seen it, if you like great animes that have great storytelling and amazing boss fights, I would recommend seeing it. But if you don't, like me, to like something bland and something boring, I wouldn't go see it. It's just too good for it. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about Demon Slayer. Man, this show is so overrated. If you like great animation, great fighting structure, great character development, and you like to see a show that at one point was the top animated show in 2020 during a global pandemic, then don't watch this show. This show's movie was the top animated movie in anime history for Japan in 2020, and it's only garnered more critical acclaim with his last arc coming up. Who wants to watch a show like that? Who wants to watch a show where it has literally been peak from the beginning to end, and the person watching the show to enjoy a little bit of every episode while being so entranced with the character development, the stories, losing characters like guys like Goku, who does honorable things and then lost. But come on now, why couldn't he win? Let's be honest, he should have won that fight. Who wants to watch an anime that not just plays on the trope of villains being villains for the sake of being villains, but humanizes them, gives their backstory, and lets you understand where they're coming from, what made them to be who they are, and gives you a personal look into their lives instead of making them one-dimensional. Who wants to watch a show like that? Unlike other shonen protagonists, Tanjiro's will and admiration for being able to stick up for his family and being able to stick up for his sister, who at one point was getting isolated before nothing that she did, and his strength comes from his humbleness and kindness instead of being a pompous, arrogant asshole. Who wants to watch that? Who wants to watch a character really be kind-hearted and then strive to greatness through hard work training? We've seen that arc so many different times in anime, but come on now, it's only refreshing when you see it in great animation fluidity. If you watched any of these animes that I've said, I think you might have to reconsider if you're an anime lover, because these shows are so overrated. Okay, I'm done. I couldn't take it anymore. If you made it this far in the video and you've heard me ranting this whole time about how bad these shows were, I apologize. These shows are amazing. These are some of the best animes of all time. And for somebody who's been watching anime for a very long time and enjoyed every single moment of it, enjoy the character development, enjoy the world building, enjoy being able to resonate with somebody who I felt that was my inner child, these are some of the best shows to watch. If you're new to anime, don't know what to watch, don't want to watch a show that's too anime, too weird, these are some amazing shows. Why? Because you're gonna see an amazing array of skill, brute force, as well as intellectual combat that makes everything so amazing about the shows. So, like I said, I apologize again for ranting about how bad these shows were. I just wanted to see who get to the end. These are some of the best shows you can ever watch, and if you ever have a chance, check them out. If you see any more overrated shows, please leave a comment below, and I would love to discuss them next time.